Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Life on Purpose. This is episode 38, and we are so excited to have you here with us. It's always a good time, so get comfortable, get seated, let us know where you are tuning in from. And
Wow. Yeah. If you're in the comments right now, please drop us a line on where you're calling in from. We have multiple weathers right now in the background. I had a few people ping me a little bit earlier about their weather conditions in Jersey and other places, which our guest is in right now. So if it's the first time you're joining us, welcome. This is a Life on Purpose Live. I am Peter, your co-host.
I'm Lena V.
Right. Lena V is a superstar. I'm kind of just here just to kind of hold Lena's bag and, take notes. All right. And I'm happy to do it. But no, seriously, this is an amazing show. We provide educational content in the form of live interviews, right? And the entire show is grounded in the Japanese philosophy of ikigai, which literally translates for reason for being. And so right now we have an amazing guest today that's going to talk to us about how to bring more fun into your life. I mean, I can't see a topic that
Mm.
is really more important right now, especially with the the issues that we're having globally. So Lena's going to do a bit of intro, and then we'll bring our guest up.
I am so excited to introduce today's guest because I can tell you all one thing: you will not be able to keep yourselves from smiling and laughing.
Mm,
Sissa Belfiore is an amazing fun sultant. I've never heard this term before, so that tells you everything. A fun
right.
sultant who is going to talk to us today about how to bring more fun and joy into your life. Ela Brasileira, she is Brazilian who grew up in Brazil, moved to England, and now lives in the United States. And she describes herself as having the soul of an artist, the character of a clown, and the heart of a child. So we are so excited to introduce Sisa today. Sisa, gonna bring you up.
Yay!
Welcome. Yay.
Yay! What's going on,
Hello.
lady?
Oh,
Hello,
it's so
hello.
wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me in your show. It's an honor, really.
Well, I think the pleasure is ours, really. We've been super excited to have you on. And I told you a little bit ago that I was doing something special for you on the background, building a little bit of a story on my profile, right? So if anyone right now is watching, just go to my profile on Instagram and you'll be able to see the kind of narrative that I built through. And the reason why I was telling you that I was doing that specifically for you in preparation for this interview is because I lived actually a majority of my life without understanding what it meant to have fun. This is really significant to me. It caused me a lot of suffering in my life, a lot of pain and anxiety. And I have a picture. I think you saw
Everyone,
the picture.
I saw
go
the
check it out.
picture.
Right. I have a picture that clearly illustrates this, right? It does not look like this face right here. This is not the smile that was always there. And the incredible thing about it was that while I was walking around miserable, right, according to society, my life was a success. I had multiple homes. I had a beautiful car. I had the trophy wife.
The
I had
Versace watches, you know.
yeah, I had a career. I had everything that I was told that I needed to have to live a successful life, and yet I was miserable. And so while you were a consultant, I was an expert at being miserable. Right.
Mm.
So this conversation right here is very near and dear to my heart because I know there's approximately what 80 million people right now on the planet. I think the research is showing us that suffer
Mm,
from stress and anxiety. That's just the diagnose,
mm,
right? And so many people would be beneficial from learning from you, learning from your expertise, and learning how to have more fun. So that's why it's special for me to
mm.
have you here today.
Ah,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I did see your picture and I was thinking, it when I am asked to look serious, I
Mhm.
can't. I can't. I
I
see
love
so
it.
make a serious face. I'm like,
Right, right.
I don't. And it's funny because in Brazil, back in the days, they changed this now. You had to look serious
Mm.
for documents. You know,
Mm,
Oh,
for pictures for governmental documents, like your
Right.
ID, your
Right.
passport, whatever. And so I was always like, okay, I have very funny pictures because I'm always trying to, how do I look serious? What do I do? Oh my gosh.
Right.
Anyway.
I love it. I love it. Sissa, I am so excited about this topic today as well because, you know, I remember reading this quote recently, and it was from a doctor actually, and they said, sometimes when patients come to me and they're telling me I have anxiety or I'm depressed, I ask them 4 questions. When was the last time you sang? When was the last time you danced? When was the last time you were out in nature? And when was the last time you just had fun? And so I would love to kind of dive in with a question for you from us and for our audience as well of, you know, when we talk about fun or being a fun consultant, what does that actually mean? Like, what do you see that people struggle with essentially, and how do you come in to help them? Because I think in a sense, we all kind of know what fun means, but there must be a reason why we're not having so much fun and we're not smiling like you if we all seem to know what this is.
Right. Why are we all not dancing?
Yeah.
Why? That's
Right.
my question.
Right.
Oh gosh, if I can leave this world and leave a legacy, this would be it. Like, be for everyone to be lighter, for everyone to just not take themselves too seriously, and always have as much fun as possible. Obviously, I have my days when I'm not all hype and I'm not super happy,
Right.
but for the most part, I think it is very important to remember that we are not here for long.
Mhm.
Life, we're not, and
Right.
we are, and so when you think of it in that way, I guess it just gives you, nobody, it's that thing. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. So we're all here. We're all, like, confused and not knowing exactly what to do, and we're all in this rat race, and just, always so worried about making a ton of money and making this, making that, and we don't stop to think about what really matters in life,
Right.
which is having quality of life, and because my dad, he had a song, and the song said, the best thing in life is still to live a great life. So this is really how I think that most people should try to look at at things. Like, you just every day is a brand new day. Every day is a new opportunity for you to do what you love. So if you're not doing what you love, what are you doing? So so I think this is it. It's just a matter, really, of understanding who you are, what makes you happy, what really brings you joy, and really applying that to your life in all aspects of your life. And so I truly believe that if to lighten the mood, you walk into your house, for instance, you're alone, let's say, and you just had a busy day, and I don't know, at work, you didn't have a good time, but you're home now. That's in the past. So what can you do to just lighten up, to just, try to at least enjoy yourself a little bit before you go to bed, and wake up the next day and do it all over again. So turn the music on. Put some music on. Listen to anything. Try to move a little. I don't know. Some people like to draw, so why not make a little bit of time to just sit down 5 minutes and draw? So I really believe that if we want to make time for ourselves, we can, and so people, it's always a choice. So it's a choice.
Right.
So you have to think, okay, I had a very shitty day. I'm home now. So I want to up my mood. So I will, you know, I
Mhm.
guess, yeah, instead of choosing to be to stay in that miserable mood and to just complain, you know, I don't know if I answered the question. I'm a little.
Mhm.
Sometimes I tend to just go all around the world.
It's all
Sorry.
good. It's all good. If I may jump in here a bit and kind of interject on something you said, that was really significant. I'm a really big fan of the Stoics, right? One of my favorites is Marcus Aurelius, and he said something that is very similar to what you say, which is one of the pinnacles of Stoicism. He had a sage with him consistently, and the only purpose for this person, I think I told Lena about this already, was every time Marcus Aurelius had like only a few minutes of silence, the sage would come up to him in his ear and remind him that today may be your last day. You may not see tomorrow. You may die today. This is a really important thing because if you can't reconcile death, you won't be able to reconcile life. And as we can see, that most people who don't reconcile their mortality, somewhere in your subconscious mind, you think you're immortal. And that is very detrimental to your life because if you don't realize that you may die tomorrow, how you live today will obviously be a limitation because you won't understand how deeply you need to consider yourself now, be in the present moment, and be happy. So I really like how you brought that in. I am not sure how many people today can have a sage to walk around in their ear and and remind them of that. I have Lena, but I don't know.
I'm your
um,
sage.
right.
That's
So
great.
so can you give us some specifics, right, that you would give your clients or anyone else who needs a bit of reminder about how to have fun? What are some of the things that people can set up in their lives, around their homes, in
Mhm.
their cars, whatever, to remind them to have fun? What would you recommend?
Yes, yes, of course. So, for instance, my boyfriend and I, we
What's
decided
up to your
to.
boyfriend, that, by the way, that who's
Uh, yes, he's watching. Love you, baby. We have this little cookie jar, and we threw in like we cutouts of paper, whatever,
Mhm.
where we wrote things to do. I don't know, fun things for us to do, like yoga. I don't know, like sexy yoga, whatever, anything. Like, yeah,
Sexy
it's
yoga.
yeah.
I like it.
I'm
I like
writing
it.
Sexy
that
yoga.
down.
It's like it can be what, naked yoga. You're doing some naked yoga with your boyfriend at
Okay.
home, whatever. That's sexy, right? Um, and then it's something that you don't think
Mm.
um, to do, but like yeah, it's just it's just spicing up your life, right? And
Okay.
so we have there, I don't know, play games or stare each other in the eyes and see,
Okay.
whatever. So we have so many little things, and so it's in a cookie jar, and so we don't do it every day, but we have a specific day, say Wednesday, and so we go in the jar, we take a little paper, and we're like, oh, I guess we're jumping around like kangaroos tonight.
Mhm.
Like so let's go. Woo! That's one way.
Okay.
If you live by yourself, you can also do that. It's funny because people have like people think like, oh, if I'm home alone and
Mhm.
I'm dancing and
Mm.
whatever, I'm crazy. Like no, you're not. You can date yourself. You
Mm.
should.
So you're
And
saying that I can have sexy yoga at home by myself? This
by
is-
your
Why not?
yes,
Why not?
you put a mirror down,
All
you look at
right.
yourself in the
Go
mirror,
into it.
right?
I'm interested.
And yes, and then you do yoga and you're watching yourself, and then there's not absolutely nothing wrong with that. You
Okay.
Mhm.
have to date yourself, you have to love yourself, you
Mm.
have to feel sexy and look sexy and admire yourself. So that's always great. So that's
Mm.
that's a way of doing it if you're alone. Um, What else? So many things. If you're in a car, for instance, I drive a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I'm always in the car. So like, because my job is like 30 minutes away and I have 30 minutes back and it's every day. And there's a ton of traffic here in Jersey. But I'm not stressing out because I know there's traffic. I know every time I'm out there, there might be an accident, whatever, there might be delays. So I leave early to give myself enough time to not be late. And when I am stuck in traffic, I'm listening to music. I'm listening
Right.
to
Mm-hmm.
a podcast. And I'm not letting what's happening in front of me stress me, because
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. And I can't change it. My car is not going to fly, and I'm not going to teleport. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm stuck in traffic, but I am having fun uh, with myself. I'm singing. I am, yeah, like I said, listening to music, listening to a podcast. So it's really just accepting things
Mm-hmm.
as they are. So I think it's very important. This is a way to not be stressed at all. Is
Mm-hmm.
to just always try to be light, always, because we practice, like conscious people, we practice breathing, we practice meditation. These things
Right.
calm us down, yes,
Yeah.
but they there are other tools that we can
Mm.
use, to up our mood. And like I said,
Mhm.
these are a few of them. Another thing, um, I don't know. Like there's so many. There's
There's I
so
think
much.
I think you mentioned so much. I just want to jump in to kind of
Okay.
recap for anybody who might have also tuned in midway and is wondering what's the topic here. We're talking about how to bring more fun into your life essentially. And I want to tap into something key that is really important to bring up, which is actually awareness that you mentioned.
Mm.
Having
Right.
awareness, because I think when we're living this type of life where it's a fast-paced rat race, as you said, right, and you have this routine, it's very unconscious, right? So a lot of people, I know this was the fact for myself, when my days were so full and so busy, I was always, I was waking up thinking about what's my first to do. I was going to sleep already
Mm.
thinking about what am I doing tomorrow, and my whole day was jam-packed with these to-dos, right? That had actually very little to do with what am I going to do for myself today.
Right.
And so I think it's easy to fall into that complaining and then seeing everything as being separate from you. But there's a reason. Why is it that somebody could be stuck in traffic and they're singing and they're dancing in their car? You look over, like the person next to you is doing that, and then the other person next to you is like beeping their horn and they're frustrated. It's the same
Mm.
situation. So it can't be the externalities. So it's got to be you, and it's got to be within yourself. And so I think what you said, first of all, that was really important, is for anybody experiencing that to just have that awareness of what can I do then in this moment. And having those triggers like that jar, I think, is really key, because we're I think it's like 5% of our brain is actually functioning on the conscious level. So 95% of it is we're coming out, we're living our life essentially with all the unconscious stuff that has been there for a long
Mm.
time. And so I think, what you said about this jar, I think it's a way of being able to shift and kind of almost reprogram your mind now, so that, you get home, whether you want to or not, you see the jar. So it's going to trigger something in you, and it's going to say, oh, all right, let me see what's in this. Or if you have music playing, like you said, like just put the song on and make it so easy for yourself to have some lightness in your life. Um, so yeah, I love that you brought it to that, and to have that practical aspect.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I think it's exactly what you said. It's within. Because I'm always asked, how are you so happy all the time?
Mm.
Mhm.
Or why are you so happy, always smiling? I mean, don't you
Don't forget
see
the
that the
dancing.
world is cruel? And I'm like, no,
Mhm.
I do. And I'm very empathetic, and I'm very, my gosh, like, I feel it to a degree that I had to stop watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
It was a choice years ago. I was that person, like at school, like I was so engaged with everything. I would read the news every day, and I love the debates at school when political debates and whatever. When you're growing up, you're a teenager, you think but but then I quickly realized, like, this does not do me any good. I I don't know. I open a newspaper and then it's just bad news, bad news, bad news, and then I don't know. Like, this senior was left home alone for months and whatever. I don't know. It's just
Mm-hmm.
so much sadness, a ton of bad news that it would just make me so emotional, so upset. Like, I wanted to just, I want to save the world, but I can't. And this is
Mm-hmm.
bringing me down so much. So I made the choice to not watch the news. And so I am the last person to know what's going on. If the world is ending, I will know when the floor right in front of me is gone. Like, oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So it's, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're so oblivious to." I'm like, no, it's not like I'm ignoring all the problems. I'm not at all. I am, for instance, I have my foundations that I'm a part of, where we help families and help them with building wells for them to have access to clean water. We provide them with food, clothing. So yes, I am a person who's very engaged. However, it's good to be engaged to a certain level, and to keep your peace, to keep your your joy, to keep your happiness. You have to also just separate yourself from these things.
Right.
Yes.
I love where you took that conversation about making sure that you have a balance, right? Because just because you want to keep up what's going on in the news, what's going on in the world, doesn't necessarily mean you need to inundate yourself with that information, because that's not going to serve you. But I want to also take it to the other side, right? To say, well, it also needs to be balanced on the other end, because, if we start just dancing in the streets, right? Only paying attention to the fun part of life, the electric company is going to come to your house and turn off the lights.
Yes.
Right? So we got to balance that with work and play.
Yes.
How do you guide people through that? Because of course, right now we see that a lot of people are just, either forgetting how to have fun or just not enjoying an aspect of life. But there's another side of it that says sometimes you could be just, enjoying it too much and forget about your responsibilities. How would you give someone guidance on how to kind of walk that line?
Very true, very true. That's funny. Like, oh yeah, I'm just here having fun. Money just
want the lights on.
We do.
Right.
No, yes, we have to have our responsibilities. So, for instance, I always suggest to people, if, like, we all have to pay for the bills, we all have to have money to go out to do the things that we enjoy doing. So in order to not be super miserable in your job, try to do something that you enjoy doing. So I have always worked with what I like doing. So I love kids. So I work with kids. Like, I have been a nanny. I have worked at daycare. I have, it just brings me so much joy. And so that's what I do. I have worked with seniors, and I used to bring the entertainment in, for them. Like, we would dance, we would sing, we would do puzzles. and that brought me joy.
Mhm.
And my employers had to remind me that it was time to go home because
Wow.
I enjoyed my job so much.
Mhm.
I'm there. I'm like, oh yeah, it's time to go. So try to do what you love. I think we all need more of this. Everybody
Mhm.
needs to. And now is the time to step up and do it because the world is
Mhm.
changing
Mhm.
completely. So
Right.
do what you love. Try to do what you love, and that alone will start changing the whole quality of your life.
Mhm.
So, but if you are in a situation where you can't for some reason leave your job because you're the sole provider of your family and you have to go to that boring job, and so um, do it. But when you get home, make a point to when you close that door and you're inside,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you leave the job like it's done, it's over. You leave all of that behind and you're home and you're with your family. And so
Mhm.
look for ways to enjoy them. If you have kids, spend time with them. They love attention. They just want your attention. They want love. They want
Right.
to,
Mhm.
so yeah, with your wife, I don't know, do a little slow dance, cook together. um, there's so much that can be done. It's just that people, it's easier for most of us to just really sit in misery, to feel so sorry, about our lives, and to just, oh man, just complain,
Mhm.
complain,
Mhm.
complain. So yeah, it's a matter of, okay, I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to be that
Mhm.
Right.
person. I have a terrible job for per se, but when I'm at home, I make the most of it. And so, yeah, just if you like drinking, if you don't have problems with alcohol, and you enjoy drinking, why not pop a beer on a Wednesday? You're home, have one beer. If it's what you enjoy, pop a beer. I don't know, watch a game, watch whatever is going to influence in your mood. So it's
Mhm.
always trying to um, to to find the positive in the negative. So you had a terrible
Mhm.
day. What can you do to change that? So
Right.
and also analyze your day. Was it really all bad, or what were the positives? Celebrate those little positive things that happened, or
Mhm.
celebrate the little moments, and that's, yeah, I think it's really a philosophy of life, you know
Mhm.
and yeah,
I
I
heard you say some things there that were really significant. Trying to kind of
yes.
summarize it and bring it home. When you talked about the inside and the outside environment, this is a really important point because the outside stimulation is there. There's very little you can do, right, to affect the type of boss that you have, the type of profession that you've already chosen right now. It's already there, right? The traffic is there. It's
Mhm.
Jersey, for Christ's sake. Right? There's nothing you can do. You live in New Jersey. There's going to be sucky traffic, right? Which is a lot
Yes.
of cities around the world. But what you can impact is your internal environment.
Yes.
And I like this analogy of the thermometer, right, versus what do you call it again? Sugar. Okay, so let me back to my statement here. Yeah, so when you're the thermometer, what happens is the outside environment impacts you, right? But when you impact the climate itself, now what happened is you're actually changing the degrees to your
Mhm.
outside environment. So when you're inside a building, for example, you come in and you turn on the air conditioning unit,
Mhm.
you can
Mhm.
actually impact the climate of the inside, right, of
Yes.
the building by adjusting the temperature.
Mhm.
People don't understand that at times the way how you show up at work actually impacts your environment. So
Mhm.
this is
Mhm.
really where you now have power, meaning everywhere that you go,
Mhm.
you now impact the climate instead
Mhm.
of now that climate impacting you. So, and walking around every single day with a positive attitude, with
Mhm.
starting your day with a little bit of fun, whether that be your yoga, meditation, your breath work, whatever spiritual
Mm-hmm.
practice that you have, or something that brings yourself a sense of wholeness, now you're
Mm-hmm.
going to impact every single thing and every single person that you kind of come around. And this is the importance of having these different philosophies or these different
Mm.
tools that's been mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to impact your environment.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So true. And yes, I love that, you know, what I'm hearing you say is really to have an attitude of optimism
Yes.
when it comes to your life, and not sink too far, into complaining, because, as Peter just mentioned it, energy affects other energy. We're all energetic beings. And so me, that feeling when you walk into a room and you can just tell that somebody is in a bad mood. You don't know why. You don't even know, you haven't spoken to them yet, but you can feel it. And so exactly that, like, you have the power and the responsibility to shift your mood. But I wanted to take the conversation in a little bit of a different direction. We've talked about the finding enjoyment in your life, and bringing in the optimism and things, but there is also the potential to fall into something that you probably know, which is toxic positivity. As Peter
Okay.
mentioned, which is like balancing. We gotta have some balance. So
Of
I'd love
course.
I'd love to know, how do you handle situations, or have previously handled situations in your life that weren't necessarily like, you couldn't find a positive. It wasn't a situation to put the music on and dance. How do you navigate the inevitable kind of challenges in life without kind of neglecting or suppressing them, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Yes. And again, with the balance, of course, there is such thing as toxic happiness, because too much of anything is toxic.
Mhm.
Mm.
So the way that I do it, the way that I deal with difficult situations is, and I learned this at a very young age. My dad, he was a fantastic person, fantastic soul, and he would talk to me a lot, and so I learned so much from him. And he would say, whenever you're in a hard situation, and whenever there's nothing that you can do, and there's no positive, what do you do? And so he said, you don't dwell on the problem, because you're
Mhm.
just going to sink further. Like, you think solutions, and so that's it. That's the key. Um, you have the problem, you sit there, and you're like, okay, this is the problem. What is the solution? What Let me sit here and write down a few things that I can do to solve this problem. And so, in a way, that is the little bit of the positive there
Mhm.
in that situation. But you're taking action, and you are, not dwelling on the problem. You're not like, oh my gosh, this is eating me up, and just really, because I think you just make it bigger. It's that song, right? If you worry, you make it double. So it really is a thing. So
Mm.
I this is my answer. You just look for the solution for whatever problem you're in. I hope I answered.
Mhm.
I think so. I have a journaling practice that I do every single day. It's called reflection. It's just one part of the journaling that I do, and it has three fundamental questions. The number one question is, why did that thing from today bother me so much? And I don't
Mm,
need to say what the thing is. My mind will already know, right? Because there was something in the day that impacted my mood. The secondary thing I ask is, did I treat myself and everyone with kindness and compassion? Because no matter what circumstances, I still have a choice in how I treat myself and others. And then the third question that I ask in that reflection part of my journaling, which is what you're talking about, is, how can I use the challenges from today for my overall well being? How can I use the challenges from today for my overall well being? That is a really powerful thing to ask yourself, because there's always a lesson in everything. You can use anything
Mhm.
for your well being. even death in your family can be used for your well-being.
Yes.
Even you losing a bunch of money, even going through a divorce or all these other things in life can be used. It's just a matter of our perspective, right? Because we see it all the time, like Lena said. Some people, your house get destroyed. You look at it as an opportunity to get a new house or to find something else in life or to move. Another person goes through years of depression because of such things. So I really
True.
like the angle of perspective and then using the
Perspective.
tools that you provided. I really think that that can provide people with tools for their well-being and gain the proper perspective of life with balance, of course.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. Um, yeah, and I think it's very important for all of us to always remember that um, we the only thing that we can control is ourselves and is how we are thinking, how we are reacting, how we are, behaving in all different environments. And so do I want to go out and be an asshole, or do I want to go out and be kind and be compassionate,
Right, right.
and so yes, it's absolutely always a choice.
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned that, actually, because just last week when we had Neil on the show, he said that of if you desire something in your life like love, or let's say fun in this circumstance, become the thing. Which brings it back to exactly what you said, of dating yourself and really getting to know yourself, because that is, that's something I had to learn as well. Of I am responsible for myself, and so it is nobody else's responsibility to fulfill my needs. So if I have the awareness, or I become aware of, I'm really, waking up in the mornings and not wanting to get up and not enjoying my life or not enjoying what I'm doing, what's a shift I can make today? Like one small
Right.
shift, as you said, when you come home from work, switch everything off, do something that brings you happiness, and you're filling your cup. We call it putting deposits in your in your own
Right,
bank, or in your
right.
relationship bank. You got to keep putting those deposits in every single day, little bit, and that's where you'll find your energy shift, and you'll have a smile like Sissa here.
Absolutely.
I think that just to add a bit there, people sometimes underestimate their own power of choice to change the circumstances. Like we were talking before about the thermometer situation, right? So one of the things that we use in our relationship is some of these like little points or reminders that reminded Lena about something she said to me when we first started dating. We had this like little like disagreement about something. I have no clue what it was, right? But for some reason, I was just not in a good mood or something, and we were having a conversation, and I remember in the middle of talking, like in the middle of like an argument, pretty much, like she just said to me out of nowhere, at any moment you can return to love, and I was like,
Wow.
whoa,
Wow, that gave me goosebumps.
I know,
Perfect.
Didn't
right?
want to
And I
hear
was
it.
like, whoa, like, what do you do with that? And I remember, I think I had to hang up the phone. I was like, let me call you back because
Whoa.
I got to deal with this. And I remember this was a while ago, and I still remember that. Like,
Beautiful.
at any moment, you can return to love. At any moment, you can return to having fun in your life. At any moment, you can return to a place of tranquility, of peace, of joy. And so that power of choice is really, really significant. And what happens, I think, for people is they design their professions and then they try to squeeze life out of it, which is what causes all this sense of unfulfillment. The dream, of course, is to design your life first and to use that life to make a living, right? But if you've already made that mistake of designing your profession first, now you got to figure out how to squeeze life out of your profession, which is, of course, going to be lopsided because you make decisions not for your well-being, but just for financial gain. And I think that's up to a large degree why a lot of people feel unfulfilled with their careers and I can speak from personal from personal experience, having went through 2 decades of military service, only to find out that that is not the actual career that's going to find me fulfillment.
Mm.
And I wonder how many people out there right now, either listening to the live, watching the recording, are living through the exact same things right now.
Mm.
I think the key is to live a life on purpose. It really is to be absolutely
I love
truthful
Sissa.
to
I
yourself.
love
Mm.
Sissa.
Mm.
Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. If I I was lucky enough to have parents who allowed me to be myself.
Mm.
And so I and at the same time they were always helping me shape and mold my character, you know. And so dad, especially dad, was the main person in my life. Like he just really helped me with everything that I needed help with growing up. But what I want to say is, so you have to be true to yourself. So what makes your heart sing? What really brings you
Mm.
joy? Do do I want to become a lawyer because I want to make a ton of money? Or do I want to go out and sing because I really want to become a singer? So but my parents want me to So no,
Mm.
it's so important that you do what you want to do. You have to
Mm.
listen to yourself, and so that is the key. That is the real key. And really, like if you think about it, this is it. Like so
Mm.
do what you want to do. Do what brings you joy, and be true to yourself. And you will, at least, even if you're not making a ton of money, you are at least having that balance where
Right.
you are making enough money. You can travel, you can eat, you have a roof over your head,
Mm.
but you're also still very joyful, very happy,
Mhm.
because you're doing what you want to do.
Mhm. Yeah, it starts by really asking yourself, right? Like, what do I really need in my life? Like, what do I want in my life? And looking at your top values, because I know that before I even spent the time looking at what I truly valued and not what my parents wanted me to value or society or whatever, exactly that's where I felt miserable because my life was so out of alignment. It was like not even being in your body, you know? And then when you
Yeah.
connect with yourself, and I find it hilarious that you brought up the law example because that was my life. Like I remember so clearly, I was miserable, and I sat with myself for like 3 hours and just had this vision come of myself finishing law school at 23. And I saw this miserable woman, no friends, no family around, but I was holding two pieces of paper. And literally that night I called my mum and I said, "Mum, I'm quitting law school. I'm moving back to Germany. I'm going to do my business. I don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to come out, but look where we are now." So I
Yes.
say this because, when you said, it's like I think we set our own limitations in our minds of what is possible for us. And when we see other people doing it, we're like, oh, they must have something that we don't know, or they must have something that we don't have. But it really starts by, as you said, like asking yourself these questions of what makes my heart sing? What do I want my life to look like? And whether if you start the thing today or in a year or you don't, the time is going to pass anyway.
Exactly.
Right. Wow. This has been like one of my favorite interviews so far. We're doing like 45 minutes
Mm-hmm.
now, just to kind
Mm-hmm.
of stay with the time and respect each other's energy, especially our guests and our audience as well. But this has been like, it's like a conversation that shouldn't end here. So we'll talk
uh
with Lisa and see how to continue this in other ways. I'm going to reach out to you, of course, afterwards to talk about some things that we can continue to do together to collaborate, because I really think that the conversations like this, not just the conversation piece, right, but the application process, right?
Oh
Mm.
yeah. Oh
One thing
yes.
to just watch the video, but then how do we help people to implement these things into their
Oh,
lives?
so true.
This is really, really significant. So I know that Lena has her question that she
Mm.
wants to have that everyone kind of gets on the social media.
Yes, Sisa, I'm very excited to ask you this question. Can you tell us very briefly what does it mean for you to live a life on purpose?
Yes, I love this question. um, so to me, it really is. It really is being a compassionate person. It really is being a selfless person. It's to me, it is being of service to others, um, and because it does bring me so much joy to be able to just do little things for people, to and put a smile on someone's face. I love putting a smile on someone's face or making them laugh. This really just makes my day. And so it's all those little things that I don't know, like for instance, helping strangers with anything at all. Uh, I remember one example here. There was a mother. It was raining. It was pouring uh, outside, and she didn't. She had her baby. She was pushing the little stroller, and she didn't have an umbrella. And there were millions of people coming in with umbrellas and people leaving. And I'm like, I have an umbrella. I'm like, hey, let me take you to your car. She's like, oh my gosh, really? I'm like, of course. And so,
Mm.
so we're like, and so
Right.
it's all these little things. It's being selfless. It's really being humane. Also, it's treating animals
Mm.
um, in the best ways, treating people in the best way. So to me, that is living a life on purpose. It's being it's being one with everyone and being one with
Mm.
nature, and
Mhm.
it's that
Love it.
absolutely.
Love it.
You heard
We're
it.
collecting these answers because it's really interesting, right? How every human being
Hmm.
perceives life and perceives their purpose in life and how to navigate that. This has been a thrilling conversation, as I knew it would have been lots of fun. See lots of comments up there. What's the name of your boyfriend? It's Ben.
Ben.
Ben, right? What's up,
Yes.
Ben? Thanks for putting in. Thanks for joining us. I love watching you guys there on Instagram, and it's very clear that your relationship is a big part of your happiness and joy. And so, thanks to him as well
Yes.
for keeping you happy. So, good job, buddy. And really
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yes.
And thank you also for setting the climate for the environment. Even how we're dressed right now, we were talking about that. Like you're dressed like you're still in Brazil. Which is
I love it.
I'm like, I had to wear something Brazilian. So, so yes.
right, which is awesome, right? Bring it with you. You want fun and excitement and life and
That's
dancing and,
it.
and all that stuff. Go check out Cissa's page.
Mm.
Just speaking of that very briefly, if someone wanted to reach out to you right now, to learn how to bring more fun into their life, if they want to travel and have some fun somewhere, where's the best place to reach you? We'll put it all in the comments, but where can people reach you?
I guess I'm always on Instagram. Like, well, not always on Instagram, but it is the social media that I use the most.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So and I do make a point to reply to all my messages. I don't always get to them every day, but I make a point to always be present. So my Instagram handle is Sissa loves being alive.
Wow.
So
There you
Love it.
go.
We
Cissa
have
loves
it.
being alive.
We have it in the description box already. So if you want to connect with Sisa, you'll find it underneath this video as well. Thank you so much, Sisa, for being here. Muito obrigada.
obrigada a vocês.
A gente tem
Thank
que
you.
fazer um vídeo junto, assim, em português também.
Vamos fazer.
Time it gets to come out.
Yeah, I was hoping she said something in Portuguese.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
It was gonna happen. It was gonna happen. Thank you
Yes.
so much, everybody, as well, for tuning in. This has been A Life on Purpose. And if you miss any part of the video, you can watch it on the replay here on our channel. So make sure to subscribe. And Sisa, once again, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
So much love.
See you
Much
soon.
love.
Peace out.
Bye bye.
Trying to get my